Hello everyone and welcome back. Today in the workshop we have our medium-sized Trident maple, and I've been hoping and praying, not really, but hoping that I could get some back budding on this branch here, back in here more, and it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. So I need to plan ahead for the next few growing seasons to try to see if I can come up with a way to get some back budding there. What I think I'm going to do this season is I think I'm going to grow this whip out that's over here. I don't know if you can see it or not. This whip right here on this branch, and re-thread graft this next growing season. I'm going to try to do that and maybe cut it back to see if we can force some dormant buds to pop this year. If I cut it back to here, one or two things is going to happen. Number one, it'll back bud. Number two, it's going to die. Pretty confident it's probably going to die because there's no dormant bud sites anywhere that I can see along that part of the branch. And it looks horrible with all this mass out here and nothing here. So that's what we're going to do today, is we're going to go ahead and cut it back and cross our fingers and see what happens, because I'm not happy with what we got. So that's one of the things we'll do today. Another thing we're going to do also is just kind of tidy up the rest of the tree and get it ready for this growing season. So first things first, we're cutting this back. Fingers crossed it back buds. Probably not. Probably going to die. But whatever. We can fix that. So that brings us to this side of the tree. We got some things going on here that I'm not happy about either. Okay, if we look at this bottom branch here, we got a similar situation going on. I was hoping we could make something better out of it, but it's not. This part of it I'm not happy with. I've had to trim it back, trim it back, trim it back, and now it's kind of way out of proportion and cattywampus. So this new branch, this little branch back here I'm getting ready to cut back to, is going to kind of be serving two purposes. Number one, we're going to grow a whip out to re-thread graft. Number two, it's going to replace this big branch here in the front. So I need to be kind of careful with what I'm doing right here. I think I'm going to go ahead and do it in two cuts. I'm going to come in here and make one cut, or well, it's going to be two cuts on one branch. I'm going to cut like this, and then I'm going to come in here again, cut to remove that, and then I'm going to sneak up on this thing so we don't damage it in any way. And this is going to do two things for us, really. Got rid of that big scar in the front, which this will heal over just fine. We're going to put some wound sealant on there. And now it's going to give us the ability to take this branch and move it into a better position here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 smaller branches around it in a circular pattern. We're going to eliminate this top one once the thread graft takes. I'm going to eliminate this little one here now. So now we only got 3. And then we're going to retain these 2 branches here and bring them over into position to create our new portion of this branch. So we've got that taken care of. Now let's continue on up the tree here and do the rest of what we were going to do. I'm going to remove this large stuff in favor of this small stuff because it's growing in a better position, and it's also growing at a better angle, and it's farther back on that branch. We're going to eliminate this one altogether because it's ugly. This one in the back here, we'll just trim the dead part off, trim that back. This one here is coming all the way back. This branch here in the front is going away because I don't like the way it looks. It's growing right in the front. We'll thread graft if we need to for here as well. Just not in the mood for this thing to not cooperate anymore, so I'm going to make it do what I want it to do, whether it likes it or not. These back here in the back, which we've got a fairly decent branching structure going on back here, Cutting those all back to keep it all nice and compact. This branch here growing vertically is coming off. That brings us to this one here. We're just going to cut this middle dead branch. Actually, we're going to cut this back to there. This right here is not really needed, but I'm leaving it on here anyway because it may end up replacing this one. Not 100% sure just yet if that's what I want to do. If that's the case, if we end up going from here clear up to here, which I'd prefer to be down here because this is your little outside bend more so than this is, even though this could potentially qualify as that, we would have to bring something out up here, which is why I'm going to leave this one here on, because I'm going to let this one be a whip branch as well. So that's why I'm going to leave this one here on. This one will be a whip branch for me to bring over like this and thread graft through. Maybe this outside bend here, if we end up using this as a side branch, if this one doesn't back bud. If this one back buds, yeehaw, we keep it. We get rid of this one. If not, then we've got one here to work with while this one's being thread grafted through and growing back out. So we're good there. This one here needs to get some stuff cleaned up on it. Got one growing straight down here. This one's dead. There's a dead node here, and cut back to one pair. Cut back to one pair. Okay. Cut back to one pair. Cutting everything back to one pair. These back ones here, these we're cutting back to one pair. This one up here, we're going to cut back to one pair. This is growing down, eliminate that. Dead chunk here, eliminate that. This is growing upward, eliminate that. This one here, back to these. This one here, back to here. This is growing vertically, it goes off. Dead node. This one here has got the dead node. Oops. Well, we just cut that off so it matters pizza. Bring this up here. Okay. Apex is good now as far as thickness. Cutting it off here. I've got dormant buds here and dormant buds here. I would prefer to use these dormant buds down low, but if these pop and these don't, that's fine. I've got two sets there to secure my apex. It comes off. And I think we're pretty much set. Again, like I said before, I'm leaving this whip to thread graft to replace this branch in the event that it doesn't back bud and it just dies. I've got this one here to grow as a whip as well, or to retain this branch to thread graft here. If we do retain it, I can use the tip, the growing tip, and loop it back around to thread graft out this way. Got these two growing at the same spot. We only need one. Got those two growing at the same spot. We only need one. Okay. That's on an inside curve. And that's us. I keep hacking these things all the way back like this every year, but I gotta get branches where I want them to be, and sometimes that's just what it takes. And there she is. You can see the taper. What I've been mainly working on thus far, is the taper in the bottom 2 branches, because I need to get those a little bit larger than the rest of the upper ones. And that's kind of why I keep whacking everything off up above, is because if I don't, they're going to be out of proportion. They're going to be way too thick for where they are on the tree. But now that I've got my taper here from the base all the way to the top of my apex, now I'm going to work on growing out these branches up above here. Always your thickest branches at the lowest point, which this is. Second branches at the second lowest point, on up the tree we go. We had that. I just don't like that there's nothing back in here. So I've let this grow, and I know it's been established for several years now. So hopefully we've had some time to have some dormant buds set in this area. Again, if not, that's fine. I'm hacking it all the way back. I'm going to re-thread graft just above where I take it off at. This thing heals like a champ. I'll be able to re-heal it in 1 or 2 growing seasons, where this big giant cut here is, if it ends up we end up having to do that. And we'll be no worse for wear. We'll just be one more year behind schedule. But that's bonsai. So we'll do our 360 here. Get this bad boy up on the bench. Lightly fertilize. One more thing I want to address while I'm looking at it right here. I've got a whirl going on at the top. Branches here where the apex comes out. I've got way too many. Way too many. So we need to eliminate some of these to prevent a reverse taper from happening. It grew kind of like a pine tree does. I had several of them coming out from the same location there. We don't want that to happen. So yeah, just a couple spots to throw a little bit of cut paste on. And I'm going to throw a little bit more fertilizer into this thing. I'm going to keep this cut back real heavy at the top to prevent any more apical growth, which will focus some more attention on these lower branches and getting these lower branches to push out some growth. So that's what our focus will be on this season. Thanks for watching.